Hey everybody, welcome to Burgle Live today. Really excited to bring you Chaz Bono as our guest. We're going to be speaking with, I can already see Chaz is in the chat now, so really great to see everyone. Tristan, David, Radio Jomo, Ruddy Fund, good to see you there as well. 308 people jumped to the chat already, 327. Great to see you guys coming and joining us. Really excited though. Chaz is obviously going to be talking about Reboot Camp, the film that we partnered with at Mogul, but also your opportunity to ask him any questions you like. Before I get Chaz into the chat as well, I just want to run through a couple of quick titles for anyone that's suddenly joined in and thought, okay, what have I seen Chaz in, or where would I know? I'll throw up a couple of quick assets. This is a good one as well. Just here, just a nice still from Reboot Camp. We can ask him what's going on there. Andrew, good to see you in the chat, as well as Quint, Pearl, Ashley. Welcome, guys. Again, Chaz Bono is our guest here today. Another quick, I think this might be a great conversation to have as well, just when we're talking about Reboot Camp, but also just asking a little bit about Chaz's experience, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Joey Funkhauser was the character he played there. Love that character, by the way, Joey. It was a really funny one. But we want to talk about Mogul, NFTs, the event coming up on the 16th, the premiere of Reboot Camp on the 21st. But you can ask Chaz anything you like. So let's get Chaz into the conversation now. Let's just see how we go today connecting Chaz. Again, any questions you want to start off with as well, guys, just let me know too. We can... Joyce, Nightly Crypto, good to see you again as always. Always in the chats. Good to see you, Nightly Crypto. Tommy, Rudolph, McLean. Hey, Chaz, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, I always have my fingers crossed a little bit when I've got to connect people. Like, that was nice and easy.
Me too.
How's your day in so far?
Pretty good.
Just gonna fix up my camera here a little bit, otherwise you'll get a close up. Can we talk a little bit about Reboot Camp coming up as well? What are you most excited about?
Just more people getting a chance to see this movie. I think that it's really funny. It's really timely. And people seem to really like it, which is cool. Like, when we made this movie, we kind of, we did it on like a shoestring budget. We had no idea how it was going to turn out. We all had a really good time making it. Like, most of it was filmed in Frank Sinatra's old house in Woodland Hills area. And we used the house. We used the bedrooms for our dressing rooms. We shot all the exteriors and everything you see. We shot there. We used some of the different rooms to shoot in, and it was cool to just kind of have everybody be there. It really brought the cast together, and so we all had a really good time making it. But it was just one of those films that it was done so quickly. It was this, Evo shot it, which was one of the things that worked so great because it's a mockumentary. So he shot it like a documentary. And so everything was like quick and on to the next thing. And you just, as an actor, you don't know. And then when I finally got to see it, I saw an early version at David's house, David Lipper. And I was like, oh my God, wow, it was really good. And then we started entering it in festivals, and we won in our category in every festival. And then it started coming out on streaming, and people seem to really like it, and I think it's a really timely, really importantly timed message, which is don't believe everything people are trying to sell you.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is because we had Nicole Aniston having a chat with her yesterday. We had Ivo Raza. He wanted to say a big shout out to you as well. By the way, he'll probably be in the chat. He said you're fantastic.
Yeah.
And everyone sort of echoed the same thing. I mean, David mentioned it was one of those films where the pieces all came together very well.
Yeah.
And it was a fun film as well. That's the thing. I mean, right now, COVID, people need a nice escape.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's a funny movie. Look, I really am a fan of that genre of film. Like, I'm not a huge, I like comedy, but I am kind of a horror person and a drama person. But I've always loved mockumentaries. Going back to when I saw Spinal Tap as a kid, like, I just thought that was the most brilliant movie I'd ever seen in my life. I would literally use it like as a test with people, to be like, if they got it, awesome. If they didn't, okay, kind of pass along. So I've loved this genre. I love, the Christopher Guest movies, Best in Show and Waiting for Guffman. So I was excited to do a mockumentary, and we had so many people. I mean, there was kind of a core of us actors that were together a lot, just kind of, the backbone of this movie. But then there was, just people that weren't actors, just kind of coming in and out, and, reality show people and people from adult films and artists, and just, and music people kind of coming through. And you're like, how's this going to work? And somehow, like, Evo got it to, like, it works. It really works, and it's fun. And again, it's got this, this message, which right now, when there's so much, when people are literally monetizing, putting out false information at a time during a pandemic, I think the subtle message behind our movie is about, like, duping people. It's, it kind of comes up in the film. So, and it's funny. It's really funny. I think you see us having a good time, and it's infectious. And like reading, I've read a lot of the comments on Amazon Prime and different venues. People seem to really like this film. So that's exciting and makes me happy as an actor, being a part of it.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head as well, really well, when you said, like, it all kind of worked. You had different flavors coming in, and it all sort of worked. I'm just going to throw up a couple of comments. I can't keep up with all the Chaz, you look fabulous. Just all the nice comments for you. Nightly Crypto, amazing to hear such high praise from an actor about the director. Yeah, I mean, I think that's been a common thing. Evo just really he's got genius stroke. Everyone who's spoken about the film, who's worked on it, really enjoyed working with him. Chaz, happy birthday to your aunt. GC, that's from Evelyn Castillo.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Evelyn. How did you get involved, though, in Reboot? What was the process there? Did you have to audition, or you knew David and the team?
No, I got recommended by the publicist, who was friends with my publicist. And we got sent the script, and then my manager has known David forever. And so we got the script and read it, and had a quick meeting with Evo and David. And I just kind of wanted to see where they saw this going, and I signed on. And we had a table read at David's house shortly after that, before we started filming. And for me, at the table read, and we didn't have all the characters weren't cast yet. There was still things up in the air, but at the table read, I was like, okay, this is this has got potential. This is really good.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you read a script by yourself, but when you hear good actors all sitting around reading it, bringing these characters to life, you're like, okay, this is good. And that was before all of the the cameos that then came into the film.
And on the cameos, I mean, I'm going to read off a list of names here, and I'd just love for you to kind of almost give me a log line of working with these guys.
Okay. I didn't work with all of them, so
You can. I was thinking even just the interaction on set, but if there's no proper log line, we'll move on to the next one.
Sure.
How would you describe Evo as a director?
Again, I mean, he had a tremendous amount of energy, was a lot of fun, and took this documentary style to making this film. So there were times that it was, and he knows this, there were times that it was difficult. He threw stuff at us that where I was like, okay, that it brought me out a little bit, but that's what he was in. He wanted to get really spontaneous stuff from us. And most of it I think worked really well. And he's a nice guy. He was fun to work with. you got caught up in the energy. It was like, you know, he was running around and the other cameraman, and it was just kind of this like in your face, you know, camera work and stuff that you don't, you know, you don't get when you're working on a, you know, on a like a big series or something. So
we had a great conversation, Evo and I, where he was talking with the cinematographer, and just that kind of dynamic where a lot of cinematographers are like, they're used to the shot structure and what are we doing today?
right.
And Evo was kind of like, okay, I need you to just get in there and just capture, because I'm not sure what's going to happen. And he was very good.
No, when you generally on a set, like on a major, you know, set, it's like if you're doing a scene with two people, just even, it's like, you know, they got to get all of this coverage. They got to get, you know, your close up, your medium, your far. They got to get the close up, medium, and far of both of you, and then the other actor. So it's like, it's all of this stuff. It takes forever to shoot a scene because they have to get so much coverage of everything. And this was fun because it was like, you know, it was like documentary stuff. It's like, get in there, get the stuff, get in people's face, make them uncomfortable, whatever. But for this film, it worked great. It was a great
Yeah.
shot.
Well, I think you guys were fantastic. Just before I throw some more names out to you, I haven't finished there, Chaz. I'm just going to throw some questions. Kimberly's come up with a great one. How involved were you in the script and the drafts?
None whatsoever. I had nothing to do with it. Again, it came to me just as they came to me as an actor, and you know, and wanted me to do this part, Herbert, and you know, I read it and I liked the character and I liked the script, and so yeah, not a thing. Other than some ad-libbing here or there, which we all, you know, there was a little bit of a looseness, so we had the ability to do that, but not my, you know, nothing to do with the script.
Awesome. Good question, though, Kimberly. Microwaves Alley. Oh my God, that's so cool. Yep, we filmed. They filmed at the Frank Sinatra place that we've spoken about a little bit before. It's a unique place. I think Nicole yesterday described it as eclectic and very, very unique. I think it's definitely, you'll end up there if you're in Hollywood at some point.
It's a lot. Yeah, it was a really neat place to shoot. I had never been there before, never seen it, and it worked really well for what we were doing. It filled, you know, our needs on so many levels, and you know, I roomed with David the whole time, which was fun. We had some actors come and go into our room, but like we were together the whole time, which was great. We got, you know, to get to know each other, and all of the actors were, you know, all of the rooms were close by, so we would just, you know, when we were not filming, we just kind of go and, you know, hang out with each other in different rooms, and that helped to bond, I think, us together, which was important again because we were in a cult together.
Yeah, that's fantastic, though. I mean, because that doesn't always happen on a film set as well.
No,
so,
you're usually in your trailer by yourself, you know, and then
yeah.
you see each other when you go to set.
Well, I'll keep running through a couple of these. ShareFan95. Hi, Chaz. Great to see you. Nightly Crypto. So many new Dans in here. You guys should know the Mogul is doing an NFT with Chaz and Reboot Camp, and Mogul does these interviews all the time with the cast. Yep. Thank you very much, Nightly Crypto, for the nice words. Exactly. We really want to, any questions, a good question here. Anyone in the chat as well. Even if we're talking Reboot Camp and you want to learn more about Mogul or Chaz's films or anything at all, put it out there. How long was the shoot? Good question, Nightly Crypto.
I want to say, well, that's a good question for either David or Evo, but I want to say 10 or 12 days, maybe. I think I shot 6 days on it. So, but it was a fast shoot. I mean, it was 2 weeks maximum, but I don't think it was that long. I think it was, I want to say like 12 days, maybe.
That's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Microwave Alley's put in, what was your favorite part about filming the movie?
I think the cast, the other actors that I got to work with and get to know, and just kind of the silliness of it. I mean, it's a silly movie. We got to do a lot of really stupid things. I mean, David, as our guru, comes up with these exercises and different things we have to do, and they're ridiculous. And so they were a lot of fun. And yeah, so I think that was probably it. It was just, you know, a very there was no stress in this movie, you know, whatsoever. It was just really truly kind of plain, which doesn't always happen.
And it comes across that on the screen as well. Okay, so let me throw a couple more names here. Okay, so Jess Belcom.
Jess Belcom. I'm blanking on that. You got to give me more because that was too.
Well, okay, I tell you what. We'll go with pass, and we'll go into how would you describe working with David Lipper?
I loved working with David. I mean, like I said, we shared a dressing room together. We got to be really, you know, close. And he's a great guy. He's a super talented guy. He is he's somebody that, you know, I respect a lot because he makes a lot of things happen. And as an actor nowadays, that's really, like, if you want to work, it's equally important to actually make content for yourself. So yeah, that's something that I really respect about Dave. But he's also just a super, you know, nice guy, easy to work with.
Yeah, and I mean, he for any of the people in the interview at the moment that are in the film industry or film professionals, you know, he made an interesting point, which I thought was really good at resonating with the industry, which was he was saying work gets work. And, you know, we did have the COVID shutdown, but in the last 12 months, you know, he's working now on his 5th feature film. And I feel like that's a really nice, inspiring way to look at it. You know, he hasn't let, you know, anything else slow him down.
No, it's been really hard. I've basically not worked at all. And, you know, he keeps, you know, pumping stuff out. And so, yeah, I mean, you do. You have to really, you know, start to get your own stuff produced and you know, if you want to act and yeah, Dave is a great inspiration for that. So
would you and just on sort of more of the actors, I mean, Jarul, did you get the?
I didn't meet Jarul, honestly. Like that happened one day, and they were, you know, they went up there and filmed that, and I you know, I didn't know anything about the guy other than I had watched the Firefest video.
Sure.
So that was the most I knew. And I remember afterwards they were like, you know, what we got was so amazing. And I was like, okay, whatever, you know. And then I saw the movie and I was like, oh my God, like it was, what they got with him was kind of golden. And he's really funny in this movie. Like, so yeah, I don't know. It was shocking. He's shockingly good in this. Like, really funny. Putting him with Keckner was amazing, and the two of them clicked, and their scenes are great.
Yeah, and well, I think, and that goes back to what you were saying before. I mean, just throwing in these flavors, and they all kind of mixed in and worked really well. Because I heard that Eric Roberts was only on set for literally 6 hours, and then he was flying out, and Evo was telling the story where he was able to get him, but he was literally getting it before him and his wife were going to the airport.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. There was like a group of us that you'll see a lot in this film that were kind of the campers that worked for, like, you know, 4 to 6 days. And then other people were just kind of coming in and out, but getting enough to have, you know, to have it really add to the film in a substantial way. And they did a really good job of that, because, yeah, I mean, you know, Ja Rule was there for, you know, an afternoon and evening, but the contribution to the film is huge.
Yeah, little these flavors that come in are just fantastic. Yeah. I'll throw up a couple of quick comments quickly, and then I've got a good question for you that just so I pronounce it right. Bob Oxford, 65. Great question coming up. We've got Rhea Blackwell. I love your cat in the background, Chaz. Island Girl. Hi, Chaz. Just love you. There's just a lot of these coming, so I'm sorry if I get you. Scott Berkman, congratulations, Chaz. I remember playing a white baby grand piano in your mom's dressing room with you like 40 years ago. Thank you, Scott. Any question's a good question. But Bob Oxford, this is a great question. You're awesome, Chaz, in American Horror Story. Just segueing a little bit away from Reboot Camp and into your own career, I mean, can you describe working on American Horror Story?
Yeah, I mean, I loved working on American Horror Story. For me, it was kind of a dream because, like I said, I am a horror guy. I'd watched the show from the beginning. I had been up until that point. I had been just, in acting class and doing a lot of theater, and I did this one film that that didn't turn out very good, but I had this really great scene in it. And so, and when I had seen this, my scene from this, it was a really charactery part. And when I saw tape of it, I was like, God, if I could try to get this to Ryan Murphy, I bet he might take a chance on me and give me, a small part in American Horror Story. And it took me, like 2 years to figure out how to do that. And, but I finally was able to do that. And that's how I got, my part on Roanoke first. And it was, so like, that was just amazing. It was kind of a dream come true. I was, my part of the storyline, I got to work with Sarah Paulson and Cuba Gooding Jr. pretty much exclusively. So that was, just so much fun. And then coming back for Cult was like, that's probably my favorite thing I've done, was Cult. I mean, it was just amazing. It was a juicy part. I got to, really over, I think, 8 episodes, really create a character that, the audience, was reading what I was putting out, and it was amazing. It was just, like I said, it's a dream come true. You're working with, just the top talent, all around. I mean, the cast and the crew are phenomenal and really nice people. So, yeah, I would give anything to get back on there.
And I think that's a testament, though, to your skill too, because you look at American Horror Story in one side of the triangle, and then the other side you've got obviously a comedy like Reboot Camp,
Mm-hmm.
and in a way, like as an actor, you're going polar opposites in how you're actually portrayed on screen, and I think shows very good range there, Chaz. So
Thank you.
congratulations. These questions coming in are fantastic, guys. Rhea, and I want to just make sure, Rhea, I got that correct. If I haven't, Rhea Blackwell, just let me know. How did you get into acting?
So I started acting when I was 14, and I was really kind of, I was in middle school. It was a tough time. I was just really unhappy and kind of depressed. My mom got me into acting school out here in Los Angeles, into a youth program. And it drastically changed my life. And I'd seen the movie Fame a few years before that. And so I was like, I really want to go to, high school performing arts. Can I audition for it? And my mom went and checked it out in New York, and she found out that, thousands of people audition every year and only 90 get in. So she's like, sure, you can audition for it. And then I ended up auditioning and I got in. And so that's where I went to high school. I was a drama major there. And then in my senior year, I ended up getting cast in a we wouldn't really perform. It was just to our peers until our senior year. And then in that big play, I got cast as a male part in that. And it was the first time I felt like I knew what I was doing on stage, playing in this Shakespeare play, playing a guy. And at that point, I had no idea I was trans. But I did know that wasn't going to happen out there in the world. And I knew that I really wasn't very good at playing girls. So I should probably figure out another career. And about 2012, I was I'd like done, you know, Dancing with the Stars and stuff like that in 2011 and 2012. I got asked to do a couple cameos and things. One was the Secret Life of the American Teen, and the other was Degrassi. And I had a good experience on set, and I just thought maybe I should take an acting class again and see how it feels all this time later. And I checked out a couple different studios and found one that I liked, Anthony Mindel's Actors Workshop here in Los Angeles. And I very quickly realized that I had the same passion for acting that I did, you know, as a 14-year-old kid when my mom started me there, and that I was going to have to do whatever it took to do this as a career. And so it's been, you know, challenging to get, you know, back into acting while I was in my 40s when I started. Now I'm in my 50s. But, you know, this is what I love. This is really what I live for doing this. It just makes me very, very happy to play different characters and get out of myself and, you know, get to do things that I would never do. I'm a fairly kind of like, you know, just normal guy. And like, but when I'm playing somebody else, I can act insane. And I love that.
Yeah. Well, it shows. I mean, it shows in these, and I mean, there's more titles coming up that I'm going to ask you about some more roles, but it really shows because there's a lot of range there too. Like I said, Reboot Camp is a comedy, and then the other side of the spectrum is American Horror Story, and that's fantastic. Ria's just put in, thanks so much for answering my question, Chaz. Love your work. Any advice for an 18-year-old aspiring actress? I'll get the other questions too, guys. Don't worry about.
Yeah, with acting, again, the only thing I would say is just study, and get good at your craft. And then, you know, and then once you feel really confident and you're really there, you know, for me, it was theater that then got me starting to feel comfortable on stage to take the next step. And then in, you know, indie films, or, you know, you gotta, nowadays in the industry, you can't do anything until you have some type of good film on yourself. But definitely the first step is your craft, 100%. Get good at your craft.
Great advice. And keep the questions coming, guys. Share a good one from Shiloh. Shiloh Starbright. It's a little bit of a segue into what you were talking about, Chaz, but what was it like being on The Bold and the Beautiful?
It was a great experience, actually. Like I the first couple episodes I did were just like kind of challenging because I had a lot of lines, and I went on first to marry this couple. And so it was like, okay, this is not too interesting, but, you know, it's work, and going on, you know, marry this couple. I got to meet a lot of people and everything, and it was fun. Then they brought me back with this crazy storyline of I was now robbing. I'd fallen down on my luck. The Reverend, you know, has fallen down, and I'm now robbing the brother of the guy I had married. And it was really fun, and it was actually written really well, and it was kind of crazy. And the guys that I were working with were younger guys. In fact, one of them's in Reboot Camp, does a cameo in Reboot Camp. And one of the guys that was in the wedding has a big part in Reboot Camp. So
can we ask who those guys are? Or
yeah, but I'm gonna have to look it up because
okay,
it's
got it.
2-year-old brain that I just don't have those things right
Sure.
there. So yeah, they wrote this part, and it was really good. These guys are great actors. We had a lot of fun. They were, you know, we'd go into their dressing rooms and rehearse before we shot, and it turned out it's good. It turned out really good, and I have a tremendous respect for you know, actors who were working on soaps, because, you know, it's the fastest thing I've ever seen people, you know, the fastest way I've ever seen people work. They literally get a take, and then only if there's like a technical difficulty, or somebody messes up a line so drastically, then they'll get another take. But it's like boom, 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 boom. So those guys are, they're really good. It was a humbling experience, actually, I have to say. And I left that with having had a lot of fun, really liking the work that came out of it, and just a tremendous respect for those guys.
It's really interesting that you say that, because we've spoken to people before who've been on The Bold and the Beautiful and The Young and the Restless. And for anyone that kind of, I'd love for you maybe just to elaborate on this a little bit more, but exactly what you said, the speed, unless, they dramatically forget the line, it's almost like you get, like you said, one take, and then at the end of the day, they're piecing that episode together. Whereas on, feature films, horror movies, the process.
Else, yeah. I mean, look, when you're doing a film with a lower budget, you get less takes, but still they're accommodating. And I remember on Bold and the Beautiful, my first day on set, and we were my very first day, when I was playing the Reverend before he'd gotten down on his luck, and I was just marrying them, and I did my first take, and I was like, and they're like, okay, great, moving on. And I was like, honestly, I can do it better than that. Can I get another take? And they're like, nope, we're good. We're moving on now. And that's just how it is. Like, if it's okay, it's okay. And so you got to really, what it taught me was that when I came back and those scenes were, there was some meat to those scenes, and I knew that they could be good, was when I went to, the other guys that I was working with and was like, hey, can we just go over these? Can we rehearse these a few times, so that there wasn't that coldness, coming when we got on set. We'd already run the scenes a few times and we're ready for it, so that getting one take was not a problem.
Yeah. So the advice would be, anyone that gets on Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, these shows, there's no warm up. You get one take, so get ready. Yeah.
Very, very prepared.
Yeah. Great questions here. I'm just going to run through a couple more. Michelle's written, I'm a theater actress that wants to be in film. Is that the same advice you'd give before, which you were saying, Chaz, about obviously you need to get a good film under your belt, or you need to prepare.
Yeah, you need to have something of you on film. Whether it's from a short, a student, whatever. You need to be able to go to an agent or a manager with you on film, showing that you can act. And without that, it would be next to impossible to get somebody to sign you. So that's I mean, but and I don't know if this person is doing a theater in LA. I mean, people do come to theater too. So I mean, I produced a play out here for a 50-seat theater, and we did get a lot of casting directors and agents and managers. So certainly, if you can get people to come out, but it's hard because it's just not. LA's not a theater town like some other, obviously New York, but other big city in the U.S. LA is just not a theater town. So
great advice. Great advice. I do theater in Minneapolis.
Okay.
Yep. I think that's all great advice, though, Chaz, what you were leaning towards. And again, inviting the casting agent sounds a great idea.
Yeah.
To any production. Let's segue a little bit. For anyone that's just joined us, Chaz Bono is our guest here today, but also we have an exciting announcement with Mogul. We have the Reboot Camp premiere at the Cine Lounge in Hollywood on the 21st. On the 16th, we have the NFT auction event. Chaz, can you elaborate a little bit on any of these for anyone that's just jumped into the chat?
Yeah, so we're finally going to have a premiere, which is kind of exciting. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, well, I mean, you can explain what an NFT is a lot better than I can. What I say is that in my package is a piece of film that is it's really funny, and it's from a scene that David and I did, and you'll see part of it in the movie, but when we shot it, we then went and improv much longer on this scene. And I was just kind of riffing some really stupid shit, and it's very funny, and that's what is in this NFT, essentially this unique, never before seen footage that was not part of what's in the movie.
Yeah, and I think you kind of lean on a great way of looking at it for anyone that's like, okay, but what is an NFT? This is the digital asset of deleted scenes that you can own. So it's an auction. Mogul's going to be auctioning off these NFTs, which are from Reboot Camp deleted scenes. And that's on the 16th, mogulproductions.com. You can have a look on there. And, any questions are good questions always to the team at Mogul. But then also what we're talking about is a separate event, which is coinciding with Mogul having the Reboot Camp premiere at the City Lounge.
You get to come to the premiere, walk the red carpet, meet the actors, and have a good time. And again, we will, because we didn't get to have a premiere yet.
Yeah. It seemed
fun for us.
Yeah, only a couple of years ago, it just seemed such a normal thing, and now it's such a new thing. Just moving away, and love the questions coming in, everyone. Just slightly moving away and keeping on par with your career, I have to ask you, I got to be honest with you, Reboot Camp was very, very funny. Mm-hmm. And another one of the roles that I think you're just hilarious in is Joey Funkhauser in Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Thank you.
Can you talk us through, being on the show, working with Larry David?
Sure. Yeah. So that is when I did audition for, and I auditioned with Larry for it. And again, another show that I've watched since it started and really knew the show and was very excited and also really nervous to improv with Larry at the audition. And so I kind of went into it just thinking, okay, I'm just going to look at this as it. I get to go and meet Larry and improv with Larry. And I had my audition, and it felt like it went well. And I made him laugh, I made him kind of crack up a couple times, and the chemistry seemed good together. So I was pretty excited. And I remember I walked out and I was like, well, that is a story. I have got a great story now. I'd love to book the part. I don't know if I will or not, but I've got a great story.
What was the audition process for Curb Your Enthusiasm?
It was kind of an amalgamation of some of the scenes just kind of put together. We just we did the scene where again, I don't remember what ends up making it into the film, but into the show. I did the scene where I'm washing my hands and he gets on my case about wasting water, which I don't remember if that made it in or not, but that was in, yeah. Typical Larry, curmudgeon-y about wasting water, and and we get into a thing about that, and then we get into the whole penis thing, and talking about that, and and I don't remember what I came up with in the audition, but it was something, and something I made him laugh, and then that was it, and it was short, but it felt good, and I left like I said, feeling like, okay, I've got this great story. I just riffed about my penis with Larry David, and
that's a great story.
for an audition, and so and then I found out it wasn't shooting right away, so I knew I wouldn't find out for a while, but then I found out that I booked it, and it was a really fun show to be a part of. Again, really, nice cast and crew. I got to work mostly with Larry, and he's actually a really nice guy. I mean, he's not like he is on TV. That character is an exaggeration. I mean, he is Larry, but he's not. And I just got treated really well, and
Do they shoot that all improv when
It's
they shoot?
all so it's all improv. You get a script, but the script just basically describes the scenes, like what is happening in the scenes. But there's no dialogue, and they shoot in a kind of a different way also than most TV shows because they know it's going to change take to take. So they try to get as much coverage at once. So there's a lot of cameras in the space, trying to get as much coverage of you as possible, and then you pretty much move on. Every once in a while they'll get a close up or something, but for the most part you just do it once. It's kind of freeing and great, and like you'll do it once, and sometimes it's just hysterical right off the bat, and then other times you'll be doing it and it's just like, okay, it's kind of not working. The director, who was also one of the main writers for this season, would kind of come in, and he and Larry and I would we kind of chat, and I'd be like, okay, but like, what is the, yeah, and like some scenes are just really story scenes versus funny scenes. So like you'd have to kind of figure that out. And so it's a really interesting like process. And I got to work with Vince Vaughn, which was like honestly so cool. And he's such a nice guy. And I mean, at one point we're doing this scene, Vince and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in, Wedding Crashers right now. Like he's just like, so that guy that he's so good. And he riffs like, it's so effortless. Yeah. So really like a fun experience, and a completely different way of working than I'd ever worked before or after.
Was there any similarities when you were shooting Reboot Camp and, Eva would go, okay, I've got an idea, let's go for it, as the way they shot it, or was it still quite, quite
No,
structured?
we stuck to the script more on Reboot Camp. I mean, like with Reboot Camp, we'd more like stick to the script and then stick on something later or at the end of it, or go for, but we stuck closer to the script. Whereas Curb does not have a script as far as lines are concerned. So there's nothing to stick to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what was your, I guess, your takeaway from working like that as well? I'd love to kind of hear, when you're doing improv, any advice for anyone
Sure.
that's kind of your.
I mean, I really loved it. First of all, I hate memorizing lines. I'm terrible at it. I started acting again when I was, in my mid to late 40s. So like old brain, it doesn't do it well. No, like if I had been doing it all along and been working my brain, but I hadn't, I spent all these last years, I was a public speaker, but I always would speak like off the cuff. I'm very good at that. So I never, I spent all of this time not ever memorizing anything. So it's always hard for me, and it always takes me much longer to do that than most actors. So that was great about it. But I like the creativity on your feet kind of aspect about it, and I also love the kind of like not having to get all of the coverage because it was just faster, and that's fun.
It's much more freeing, I think, too. Like that's
Yeah,
the idea that you feel like you're not kept in a box with,
right.
and sense though when it is scripted because it's all about the story. But
Like,
um,
when I did American Horror Story, when I did Cult, like the scene where I cut off my arm, I was taped on the cement floor, and they would like bring everybody, they change, like stop to change the camera positions and bring everybody else's stand-ins in, and I would be stuck taped on the floor for and finally I'd be like, please, I've got to get off the floor. So
that's a great story. That's a great story.
so
Um,
like you have those times where you're literally like dying for your art, and they're like they just keep changing the camera angles and the close-ups and the things, and yeah, so it can be it's hard, it's really hard work, whereas yeah, it's a different type of hard work doing it that way.
Yeah, and again, actors needing to stretch a little bit.
Yeah.
For two more questions, I'm going to quickly lead in. These are great comments. Thanks, Jackie. You were so good in American Horror Story. Let me have a look here. Don't block me. Which do you like more? Thanks, Jackie. Good question. Which do you like more, company or drama? It's supposed to
Probably.
be comedy or drama.
Yeah, I mean, I probably lean more towards drama, but I think, but a good comedy is really great and fun, and like, when like my girlfriend and I will watch, we'll generally watch a drama. We'll usually have two shows going at once, a drama and a comedy, so that, like, we can watch something really heavy. Like, we finally watched Mayor of Easttown, which is amazing. And Evan, my boy Evan, was so good in it. I was so happy to see him in that, Evan Peters. But we had to, you want to watch something, funny after that, just to chill out. And so we started watching this other show called The Other Two, which is really stupid and funny. So, I guess you need both in life, really.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, again, different times in life, post-COVID, perhaps people looking for more a sort of a happy escape. But
I've watched Schitt's Creek. Honestly, I'm probably on my 6th run through of it. So, which drives my girlfriend crazy, but I'm one of those weird people that can watch things over and over again if I like them.
Great show. This has got to be our last question. Chaz, it's been a fantastic chat. I'd love to get you back again. I'm going to lean a little bit more as well because, again, there's still more people coming into the conversation. Welcome, everybody. We have the Mogul NFT event, 16th of September, 21st, the premiere at the Cine Lounge for Reboot Camp. What is your best story from Reboot Camp from shooting? Or a story that you can share with us?
A best story? I mean, I don't, like, again, it's really hard to say because it was all fun. Every day was fun, like the day when the giant vagina water slide came, for example, was a fun day that we were all like, we'd heard about it, like, we're going to have a vagina water slide. And then it came and we were like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. And we all, got to slide down it and have our through the giant thing, so that kind of stuff was silly and fun. The party scene was ridiculous and really fun, and all of us were being so stupid during that party scene. I don't think we got filmed a lot because we were probably being stupid and inappropriate, but we had a lot of fun, and it was more about the VIPs in the room. So,
and if this doesn't if everyone's wondering, vagina water slide, this type of thing, you'll understand when you watch Reboot Camp. You'll understand.
Yeah, you have to watch the movie Reboot Camp, but that's the kind of stupid shit that's really funny in the movie. A giant vagina water slide that is made off of this adult actress's, supposedly modeled off of her vagina.
Which will be one of the NFTs as well. Chaz, it's been such a pleasure having a chat with you. Can't wait for the premiere. I can't stress enough, anyone, guys, got to see Chaz in Reboot Camp. He's hilarious. But also the other body of the work, which we've talked about. I hope they get you back on Curb Your Enthusiasm as well. I want to see the character come back. Just to sum up as well, Philippines, Brazil, Australia, Canada, America. These are all people that have done shout outs, as I've seen, saying hi from their country. So thanks very much, everyone, for watching. We have Jess coming up as our next Reboot Camp guest on the 11th. Otherwise, looking forward to seeing you at the premiere. And Chaz, thanks very much again.
Thank you so much.
Good luck, guys. Take care.